listening to Tone Dunken on the Truth Seekrz Show, IntellectualRadio.com. I want to thank you so very much for taking some time out and listening to the show. If you're watching me live on Facebook, make sure that you send your comments. And if you're listening in on IntellectualRadio.com, thank you so very much. It is a privilege to be a part of the Intellectual Radio family. I look forward to giving you the information that you tune in to hear, putting facts out there so that we can better understand the truth. Today, I want to talk to you guys about dear to my mind, dear to my heart, and dear to my calling. I want to talk to you today about fitness, about health, and I want to separate the fat from the facts. This is IntellectualRadio.com. You're listening to Tone Dunken. And before I get started, I want you to join me Monday, May 22nd, either on Facebook Live or live and in person at Evangelical Covenant Villa Park. That's 17 West 620 Rodan, Villa Park, Illinois, 60181. That's going to be between 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. for a leadership forum as we talk about saving. This will be hosted by Pastor Angela Johnson. I'll be speaking on trade shows. I'll be speaking on trade schools, And as you might have known from our last segment, I have quite a lot to say about them, especially as you compare them to traditional four-year colleges for a lot of our upcoming students and soon-to-be adults. So first, I want to say thank you to those who are checking me out. I want to say thank you to all of you, and I know that I've got a few people on, and much love to Levita, my niece Vinny, good brother Alameen Muhammad. So powerful to listen to you and to hear the positive message that you spread. Karen, what's up, Niecy? Hope all is well. And Angie, God bless you. Listen, today I want to separate the facts from the fat. I want to talk to you about exercise. There are 10 reasons that I've come up with as to why we tend to have such a hard time attaining our goals. Why it is that when it comes to losing weight, we just don't seem to get it together. Now, you know, I talk to a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of people I've counseled and helped get to where they need to go on health and fitness. And today I'm going to come to you with the top 10 reasons, why we don't obtain our goals. And guess what? Most of them are because we just don't really know how our nutrition affects the way we look, the way we feel, and our health. Today, I want to talk to you specifically about how to get into shape. I want to show you how simple it is, but I want to get into the top 10 reasons why we're having these problems. Write some of this stuff down because I charge a lot of money for this information, but today I'm giving it to you for free. For free right now. You can either go pay a trainer. I know because I make a lot of money training. You can go pay a nutritional counselor. I know because I make a lot of money counseling. Or you can pay a motivational speaker. Hey, I make a lot of money being a motivational speaker. But today, and today only, I'm going to give it to you straight and in the raw, separating the facts from the fat. You're listening to Tone Dunken, Truth Seeker Radio on IntellectualRadio.com. The first and number one reason why we are eating too much and not knowing it, not getting the gains we want, is because we're eating too much meat and dairy. Too much meat and dairy in our diets. And I know you probably say protein was good for us. Well, protein is good for us. And let me give you a little background. I used to do a diet that's now called the paleo diet, but when I started, it was called the Atkins diet. It was a meat-based diet, meat-based. And man, I look good doing it. I'll tell you right now, I had all the gains I wanted. Muscles were great. It was easy to follow as a guy because what guy didn't want to eat a whole lot of meat? But you know what? I found out some information that I didn't want to hear because I was an advocate for. I spent time trying to teach people the benefits of eating a high protein. And wow, I show them my abs, six pack. Listen here, are you going to believe me or not? It was easy to believe me, but then I learned that too much protein after you're no longer growing things in you that you don't want to grow. Because what you don't know is protein doesn't only grow muscles, it grows cancer tumors. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that today because that's on another show. But what I want to talk to you about is why isn't really what we're getting when we're eating meat that matter. Have you ever had just protein before? I'll never forget the time that I bought powdered protein at the fitness store. You know, I'm over there ready to spend some money. I want to get into the best shape I can. It's probably like around this time of the year when, you know, the heat is on. I must have poured and mixed that protein and it was disgusting. You know why? It was 100% pure protein. 100% pure protein doesn't have sugar. It doesn't have fat. It's just disgusting. I really had to find something to put in there so that I could make it more palatable. It was bad. But it's the reason why today we're having so little success on a high protein diet using meat and dairy for primary foods. See, what you have to understand about a high protein diet is that when you use meat and dairy, you're not just getting protein. You're getting fat, lots of it, lots of fat. Even when we think it's a good cut of meat, just remember, like it's because there's fat on it. Look at what meats cost the most. They're usually meats that are higher in fat. That is what we crave. But here's the problem. The problem is it's not a high fat diet that we do well on. It's a high protein diet that we do well on. See, when you bring in fat into the equation, now you're getting a little too much. See, because fat is different than protein. Protein is 4 calories a gram. 4 calories a gram is a low number when you compare it to fat, which is upward of 9 calories a gram. Did you notice how I just doubled the calories just by eating fat? Well, that's the problem with the foods we like that we call high protein. And that includes dairy, because remember, we don't like dairy that doesn't have fat. It's disgusting. High fat dairy, or we at least like the high fat taste of dairy. Here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that we all can agree on meats we don't like this one. You ready for this? I don't like white meat because it's too dry. See, that same piece of that same chicken, when it's put in the oven and the white meat is too dry, but the legs and the thighs aren't, it's not because the legs and the thigh aren't just as dry, they're just more oily. See, there's more grease because dark meat is oily. So we like that. Matter of fact, you can cook that really, really hard because it's full of oil. That's what we like. And when we think about dairy, what you have to understand about the dairy is that it's full of fat too. Actually, there's more fat in dairy than there is protein. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say to me, but I don't drink whole milk. But what you don't understand is that 2% milk is the same amount of fat, almost 30%, except for they add more water and they add a little bit more flavor to it so that you think it's the same. It's completely synthesized. I don't know why. I don't know why any of us consume dairy. And a lot of us don't understand this, but we may have a more lean milk, but we still have high fat cheese. And when we don't have high fat cheese, what we don't realize is that that low fat cheese is completely processed. It's not going to give us the health benefits that we want. Another thing I need to tell you guys about the high protein diet is it makes your breath stink. It's called ketosis. Ketosis is when you're no longer using carbs as a source of nutrition. You start to use more fat. And so the effect of breaking down that fat in the liver creates really bad breath. So I don't know how you feel about halitosis. And I don't know how you feel about people running away from you. But that's another reason why high fat meat and dairy does not work. The number two reason why we do not see the kind of results we want is because of fried foods. You think that a little fried food is okay, but they're not. I just explained to you, and I hope you understand. Fried foods are full of fat. You can take some fried food and end up having 3 times the amount of calories on it because you fried it. That's scary because we're trying to lose weight. We're trying. We think we are. We hope we are. We're not. Fried food is really a deal breaker, super deal breaker. You guys, another thing that I want to talk to you about is I want to talk to you about why fried foods are so dangerous for us. One of the primary reasons is because it clogs our arteries. Clogs our arteries. That's a scary thing. Now, if you don't want to get into shape, at least want to get healthy. That's what I'm hoping you do. Number 3 thing that I think you got to understand is that we're eating far too much fast food. You guys, far too many fast foods and processed foods. What you think is, okay, I'm not going to have a processed food. I'm going to have a fried food or I'm going to have a fast food. Dan, that some of these fast foods, they're so full of grease. They're so good, full of non-digestible fats. They're so full of sugars that when we're eating them, because they're designed to taste so good, we're actually gaining more calories by the second than we would if we would have just went home and made it ourselves. Because when we get home, we don't use chemicals like the ones that the fast foods and the packaged foods, the prepackaged foods are using. How dangerous the food is. Every time you look up, they're doing studies that are saying fast foods are killing you. Not to mention causing so much weight gain. Weight gain is where the problem is. You cannot expect to lose weight and eat fast foods or packaged foods. Not if you're serious about your goals. Listen, number 4, it's too much sugar. How many of you guys are eating a lot of snacks or have a sweet tooth? You don't have a sweet tooth. What you have are a bunch of gut microbes that are craving that which you've already consumed. And I'm going to say this real quick. I don't want to talk scientific to you, but every time you eat something, it leaves microbes in your gut, in your small and large intestines. These you crave. These go right to what we call the gut brain. The gut brain, as science is finding out right now, is creating a greater response to the brain and stimulating our cravings. It's serious stuff. It's causing us not to get the gains that we're looking for in the gym. We want to see lean muscle tissue. We want to see a trim waistline, but not when you're eating sugar. Sugar is 4 calories a gram as well. Calories a gram. But the problem is it's everywhere. Americans right now eat about 15 times more in sugar per year than we did 100 years ago. And 100 years ago, we led the world in sugar consumption. Just to let you know, it is going crazy out here. The hydrogenated, as my good brother Chill Will said, serious because they're in a lot of our sugary foods, not just our fatty foods. See, partially and completely hydrogenated fats cannot be digested by the body. There's no tolerance for them. And that's one of the real problems that we're having. Real problems. But now, number 5. Number 5 is shocking because we don't take it serious. Do you know how many times I've seen people drink these super caloric drinks full of sugar? Full of sugar. How is it that you think that you're not going to get heavy drinking a Coke, drinking a Sprite, drinking an energy drink? I know. You're going to tell me, well, I do sugar free. Don't you realize that the body treats it the same way? Because you've tricked the body into thinking it's real sugar. So it goes through the same process. It doesn't help you, and it's so chemicalized that only God knows how dangerous we're going to find out it really is. Do the studies on this, and you'll realize that sugary drinks for over 30% of our weight gain. Sugary drinks. Drink these. We don't need to consume them. And like I said, the health effects of the non-sugary drinks are startling as we start to look at the latest studies. They are quite alarming. Don't take those to be any better. We have some real poor life choices, you guys. And one of the major poor life choices are we allow too much stress in our minds, in our emotions, in our thoughts, and in our life. Maybe it's the job, relationship. Maybe it's just inner turmoil. We're just not happy. Well, let me tell you something about stress. Stress creates something called a cortisonal effect. So there's cortisol in our bodies. And cortisol is a hormone. Cortisol is the hormone we secrete when we just been through too much. So I want to talk to you guys about getting serious about your fitness. It involves getting serious about the stress in your life. Okay, have you ever felt like you wanted to work out, but when it was time to work out, you just didn't have the energy? You didn't have the desire? I mean, you really wanted it. You're intelligent, you know you need to, but for whatever reason, it just didn't materialize. You just didn't have it in you. You didn't. Oftentimes, you guys, that's the flight mechanism of our body. How we stop from overdoing it is called cortisol. And you need to understand that because it's real. The number 7 reason why we have such a hard time is we don't get enough sleep. Do you realize that they did a study once and they found out that when you don't sleep enough, you start to get hungry. See, what science had concluded was the only possible reason you're still awake, according to the way your brain thinks, is you must be hungry. That's the only reason why you're awake. That's how your brain processes this abnormal behavior. And if you don't think it's abnormal, listen to this. Science tried to study other species that deprive themselves of sleep. There aren't any in the world. Not another species will deprive itself of the life-saving ability to go to sleep when you're tired. Average person, when they're videotaped and watched in a clinical setting, when they're deprived sleep, they start to consume calories. This is why we need to sleep. We need to cut it off. When they talk about no snacking after a certain time, you do realize, I mean, how many of you tried not to snack after a certain time? If you awake, you gonna eat. I don't care how hard you try. The only way to not eat. So please make sure that you are eating. Sure you are sleeping too. Okay. Number 8, sedentary lifestyles. How many of us know that there's absolutely no way you're going to stay trim if you're not moving? The body was intended to move. We are moving creatures. We are more efficient. I can always tell when somebody doesn't move enough. When they don't move enough, your storage of waste starts to pile up. Remove the toxins without moving. So if you want to remove, you have to move. If you want to get rid of all the bloat in your body, poison liquefied, waiting to escape, you've got to move. So I want you to understand something. Moving is essential. Sedentary lifestyle, which obviously means that we don't move enough, we have to move. I don't care what kind of movement we do. We have to get out, walk. We have to do something. We have to move. Number 9 is in your head. Too many voices, you guys. Some of those voices come from friends. Friends who tell you, well, you don't want to get skinny because then you're going to look like you're sick. I'll never forget when I really shredded up. And look, I'm an ex-wrestler, so I know how to really shred. I know how to focus on my eating. I did have friends who were like, wow, are you healthy? Is everything all right? Because you know what? Unfortunately, in some communities, especially ours, the only time you're thin is when you're sick or you're on drugs. Because other than that, we are one of the most obese countries in the world. And even hitting a little closer to home, my people, Americans, 75% of us are overweight. 75% of us. So if I'm listening to the average person tell me something, I want you to know where that average lies. It lies somewhere we don't want to be. So that's one of those voices that we hear. Another voice that we hear are the bad role models that we see on TV or we see at the gym. Synthetic foods, and they're doing all these crazy workouts and all this other stuff that we just say, oh, that's not for me. I can't do it. See, these voices are completely throwing us off because they're not telling you the truth. And if they are telling you the truth, they are going the worst path possible. The easiest, the most simplest way to lose weight and to really feel good. But the hardest voice to get out of our head are the millions and millions of dollars in marketing telling us that the poisonous foods we eat are good for us. And when I tell you they are poison, they are poison. But the worst part is that these poison foods are making us so depressed, so sad, because none of us want to be heavier than we're supposed to be. Hey, we love ourselves. We can take ourselves for whoever God, the good Lord, intended us to be. But when we know we're not supposed to look like that, yes, and we give up because we know this shouldn't be this hard. But it's because we are listening to so many mismarketed statements about how we're supposed to eat. It's not working at all. Here's another thing that I want you to understand, that the truth has very little marketing. The truth doesn't get the marketing it deserves because very few are going to put in the millions of dollars to market it to let you know it exists. Unfortunately, overweight people are hearing from the same people who are selling you the foods that are making you overweight. And then get skinny quick and diets, and they know you're vulnerable. See, they know you're an emotional wreck. So they'll spend the millions to trick you into buying their things, and then you find out what? Diets don't work. You need a lifestyle change. But the number 10 reason that I consider the number one reason why we don't lose the weight that we're supposed to lose is because we're not organized. We're not organized. We don't write down our goals. We don't write down our foods. We don't write down anything, our lifestyles. When you are organized, then you get things done. Okay? Goals by the inch are a cinch. Goals by the yard, way too hard. I want to remind you guys that writing things down are how you get to see your progress and watch the process. When I come back, you guys, we're going to be talking about how to get fit and the top 10 myths that are holding us back. You're listening to Tone Dunken on the Truth Seekrz Show, IntellectualRadio.com. All right, you're listening to Tone Dunken on the Truth Seekrz Show, IntellectualRadio.com. Thank you so much for checking me out today. I hope that on IntellectualRadio.com, you're giving me a great chance to bring you in as part of my listening family. And on Facebook, so much. Love you to death. I'm so glad that we're on this thing together. But check us out on Intellectual Radio. IntellectualRadio.com is a full station and an iHeart channel. We've got amazing hosts who have a wonderful perspective, tons of things to say, and we're 24 hours, 7 days a week, always something stimulating for the brain. Feed your brain. Radio.com. Today, I want to talk to you guys about Project Hood with Pastor Corey Brooks. As the rooftop preacher, Corey Brooks from New Beginning Church, that's NBCChicago.tv, has a program that's really close to my heart called Project Hood. Project HOOD. That's helping obtain destiny, helping others obtain their destiny. And please check them out, Project Hood, you guys. I'm looking forward to the great things that he has going on for the South Side, one of the more neglected, more dangerous areas of our community, with a lot of young brothers and sisters that just need love. For you guys who listen to me, you know that I talk about nutrition. I talk about health because we got to be healthy and we got to be alive. But I talk about real social issues too. So I hope that when you check me out in the future, I hope you check me out knowing that we are going to always focus in on what's real, separating the facts from the fat. Truth seekers. I got my good guy, DJ Ra. He said, what's going on with Subway sandwiches? Come on. All right. The World Health Organization put out an alert that said that there are way too many toxins in deli meat. These compressed real meats are killing us. Don't eat them. Eat them. They didn't say reduce the amount. They said don't eat deli meat. It is dangerous for you. So I hope you guys understand that not only is that terrible bread bad for you, terrible. I don't care that they just made it, because when you go back and look at how terrible that refined wheat is and how it's causing all kind of allergic reactions, all kind of issues, gluten and disintolerance and all kind of problems like that, you're starting to see that we're just eating too much of the wrong foods. So by all means, if you go to Subway, I hope you go to Subway and have a salad. Okay? Have a salad, because that's when you make Subway work your way. Subway sandwiches and Subway salads are the exact same price. All right? So for a salad, it's the same price as a 6-inch. I had a whole lot of them. That is my escape when I can't go anywhere else. So yeah, go to Subway, but go to Subway and have a salad, brother. Now, I want to talk to you about how to get fit. All right? First and foremost, you're going to have to understand being fit involves eating the right foods. We just spent the last amount of time talking about all the things that you shouldn't eat. But I want to talk to you guys about what we need to eat. But before I get in there, I want to tell you this segment is sponsored by the doulawarriors.com. The doulawarriors.com. I don't know if you know what a doula is. See, I didn't really know initially. I had to find out. But a doula is a certified, experienced, and skilled who stays with you before, during, and after you give birth. And you know, too many of us are having abortions. Unfortunately, in the Black community, there are more abortions than there are live births in major cities. But I don't want to get off track. Please, if you are serious about having the best delivery experience you can during and postnatal, check out the Doula Warriors. And we have an unbelievable Mother's Day special that I believe is still going. So check out my favorite sister in the world, Marlisha, and the rest of her highly trained staff. Now back to the new you guys. Now when we talk about a new you, we got to talk about how we're going to lose this weight. Here's how we're going to lose the weight. First, we got to identify what is weight loss. I have people who put on bags, plastic, or they got the tummy wrap thing going and they're losing all this weight. And I said to them, you do realize that's only water, right? That's not the weight that's holding you back. When we see all of these lose 10 pounds in 2 days, it's not fat, which is replaceable in your next shower or your next glass of milk or your next glass of water, I hope. Separate the fact from the fat. 3,500 calories make up 1 pound. Most of us can't eat 3,500 calories a day. 3,500 calories makes up a pound. So if you were to shave 500 calories from your diet every single day, you would lose 1 pound a week. Am I telling you this to discourage you? No. I'm telling you this because I'm tired of people lying to you. Lying. 3,500 calories for 1 pound. Okay? So when you lose a pound of fat, it's coming off of you in a real way, not like water. All right? So I care more about keeping it real than I do about selling you a lie. Matter of fact, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just giving it to you in the raw. You guys, when you give up 500 calories in a day, you notice it. It's a big, but it's very easy to do. But before we talk more about what you need to give up, let's talk about what you need to give. Add more real foods into our diets. The one thing that I want to stress to you are real vegetables. Vegetables. Green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables, you guys. You know, we grew up on green leafy vegetables. Greens, spinach, things that were healthy and wholesome. And how about the colorful vegetables? What happened to those? They found out that diet somewhere around vegetables. That's so dangerous. When they checked some of the best health throughout the world, when they checked the people who lived the longest, they found out that these people were eating somewhere around 80%, 5% vegetables. Now here's something that's even worse than that. When they checked to see what vegetables Americans were eating, corn and potatoes. Number one of potatoes, chips, fried chips. Number two source, you guessed it, French fries. Number one source of corn, byproducts in all the foods and drinks that we don't even know they're there. Is that terrible? Those are the ones that are offering us the least amount of health. Cruciferous vegetables, I know you've heard that term and was like, what? What is that? Those are the green leafy vegetables. Those are the kale, the spinach, romaine, bok choy. Those are the ones that we're getting all the vitamins that we desperately need. Those are the ones that fill us up and make us feel satisfied. We got to add those in. We got to add all those beautiful colored vegetables. Now, I want to tell you guys, so we have no misunderstanding here, where we are on vegetables and fruit. So many of us have been told that fruit is not good for you. They said too much fruit will give you diabetes. Well, do you know that there is not one recorded in the history of time where people who ate fruit but didn't eat artificial foods and didn't eat high contents of meat ever got? Number one way you get diabetes, so that there's no misunderstanding. You know, we'll talk more about this when I do my disease conversation. Number one way we get it is from the fats in our meat and the artificial foods that we consume. We have to get rid of those and start eating healthy fruit. Now, what is a fruit? Fruit is any plant that yields a seeded vegetable, we might call it, but they're really fruits. So what is a cucumber? It's a fruit. What is a tomato? It's a fruit. It's a fruit. Just like a watermelon, right? So these are all fruits. Some fruits are sugary, some fruits are not. But we've got to make sure that we're taking in real fruits. And when I say fruits, I mean berries, melons, apples, pears, citrus, lemons, grapefruit. These are where we get all the vitamins we need. We need to replace the foods that we're eating that we need to eat. All right? Dairy-free products. We got to get off this dairy. I'm going to tell you right now that dairy is as bad for you as white bread. And we'll talk about that more later, but it is not a good food to consume because it's full of calories, and we typically never count our drinking calories. Get off the dairy. All right? I had somebody tell me, oh, I'm eating healthy now. I have yogurt every morning. Okay, the yogurt is disgusting if you don't add sugar. Oh, well, mine has artificial sugar. The body responds just the same. And it's usually got a lot of fat. So if it doesn't have fat, if it says low fat, it's high in sugar. If it says low sugar, it's high in fat. I just wanted you to know. Check and see. Looking at the nutrient label in the back, nutrition facts. They can lie on anything on the front of a package as long as they're honest facts. That's the way marketing works. That's the reason why we read things that say 100% whole grain just to find out that it's enriched bleached flour. We got to start being smart, you guys. Our people perish because of their ignorance, you know. Another thing I want to talk to you about is what I consider to be the whole foods truth. Truth is stop eating processed foods. Now, when I say processed foods, I'm talking about foods that are in a can, foods that are in a box, foods that are in a to-go shelf, ready to be eaten because somebody just made it hot and ready to serve. We got to stop that. I have something called the 4-fist rule. The 4-fist rule, you guys, is when you use your fists to determine what your plate should look like. Fist, right? We all have a fist. Everybody's fist is a different size. Well, it's perfect for your body. Here's the 4-fist rule. The 4-fist rule is first and foremost, your first fist should be fruit. Fist and your third fist, vegetables. And your last fist should be either a complex carbohydrate like brown rice, quinoa, teff, amaranth. I know some of you have never even heard of these, but these are ancient grains, the grains that our forefathers ate before we started to eat all of this highly processed foods. You guys do a quick search on all the different grains there are that are gluten-free. It'll blow your mind. They sell them at the stores you go to. They really do. They're not in the ethnic aisle. They're right there. So what I'm talking about, let's start off real simple. Brown rice. Let's start off with brown rice and maybe beans. Do you know beans are associated with the most weight loss of any other food? Almost everyone who consumes beans loses weight. We love dairy, you guys. I know we love dairy, but it's a reason you love dairy. And we'll talk about that on my other episode. But it's got the two things that you really want, sugar and fat. We eat these things. The sugar is called lactose, and the fat, even though they tell you it's 2%, that just means they add more water. Still the same milk, doesn't really matter. And when they do actually manipulate the milk through centrifuge, which means they spin it so fast that the fat separates from the milk, and then they add, because now they've also lost all the minerals, all the vitamins. So now they got to add them back in artificially, which means it's not even real. It's terrible for you. Get off that dairy. It's too many reasons. When we talk about food and disease, you guys aren't going to want to eat it anyways. I'm going to want to drink it anyways. So you guys, back to what I'm telling you. If you're going to eat meat, and you guys know I'm not into meat, not into it at all, and we'll find out why again when we do the disease and food. But if you're going to eat meat, eat whole pieces of meat. If that's where you are right now, hey, no judgment. Just eat whole pieces. Don't eat these processed meats. These meats like hamburger, these meats like hot dog, these meats like sausage. All these meats have been determined by the World Health Organization to be highly toxic for you. And they cause you to gain so much weight. So real pieces of meat like if you're going to eat chicken, then eat a real piece of chicken. If you're going to eat beef, eat a real piece of beef. If you're going to eat pork, eat a low-fat If that's where you are right now, eat that. I don't condone it. I'd much rather see you eat something else, like I said, beans and rice, then you'd really see the weight loss you were looking for. I put together a little demo of what I hope you can consider eating. I've got a breakfast, lunch, and dinner that'll really help you out. For instance, breakfast. I want you guys to get into eating smoothies. I love smoothies, you guys, and real smoothies. Smoothies that are 100% whole food smoothies. All right. The first thing I want you to do is remember smoothies should have a green leafy vegetable, should have at least 3 fruits, and one of those fruits should be a banana or dates so that it has the consistency that you're looking for taste. Okay. And I have on my channel all kinds of smoothie recipes. So just go down my Facebook page. You'll see them there at True Business or Mr. Tone Dunken Speaks. Now for lunch, I'd like to see you eat something called a G-bomb salad. G-bombs, Gbombs. That stands for greens, beans, onions, berries, and seeds. Greens meaning that all those cruciferous, right? We're talking spinach, kale, bok choy, any of those, romaine lettuce. All right, beans, because you guys, believe it or not, beans again are associated with such great weight loss. Onions, because they really help us so much to eradicate the toxins in our bodies. Mushrooms, which give us so many nutrients that we don't even need to talk about them right now. Berries, because berries are one of the most nutritious foods. You get a real sense of feeling full when you're eating a high nutrient meal. And then seeds, because we need seeds. Seeds are good for us, but we don't need to snack on whole handfuls of seeds or nuts. All right, we don't need that. Sure that when you're eating nuts or seeds, you're sprinkling them onto a meal. You're not eating them as a full meal. And then for dinner, for you. All right, how about string beans? How about salad, beans and brown rice, and a big nice serving of watermelon? Remember, that watermelon is going to taste really good when it's cold. So you got to try that out. And use the 4/5 rule. Remember the 4/5 rule, because that is the way you determine how to eat. A decision to have meat. Remember, that meat has to be without fat. It's got to be without fat. And a lot of the seasonings that we put on it are high in sugar. Remember too. You guys, when we come back, we're going to wrap this thing up, and we're going to talk about how to put this thing into operation, you guys. You're listening to Tone Dunken, Truth Seekers on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Channel. All right, you guys, this is Tone Dunken on Truth Seekers, IntellectualRadio.com. This last conversation is sponsored by you. Even though you don't know it, you're giving me the social currency to be able to spread this word. As more and more people tune in, as more and more likes, we get an opportunity to go higher and higher on the algorithms on Facebook, radio.com, which is also streaming live on YouTube. So if you get a chance, check us out on YouTube. We've got a great presence there. Like us everywhere you can, please. We need the likes. Like. Love you for it. Thank you so much. But I want to recap to you now that it's really food, it's really a sedentary lifestyle, and it's really a lack of organization. Us, the greatest disparity in our gains, in our weight loss, our muscle gains, and our goals. So, you guys, here's the first thing you need to know about working out, because that's what we need to do now. We need to shed some calories. First thing you need to know about working out is you have no idea what's going on with the ticker. Do you know they did an autopsy on children 11 years old that were sadly accidents? And you know what they found out? They found heart disease already in these children. They say that by the age of 24, over 75% of the people who they've checked through autopsies already has. And when you go up to 44, that number goes higher and higher. Do you know that there's less than 5% of the American public that does not have heart disease in some way? Do you see why I'm talking to you? And this is why I have to have this conversation when we talk about disease and nutrition. So you have to talk to a doctor. You have to check with your doctor. Say, hey, doc, I'm thinking about working out. Because then he'll do a quick blood test on you, and just to make sure that your fat lipids aren't too high and that there's no possibility that you will have a heart attack. You know, there was a story that stays in mind, and that is one day a woman, so tired of her husband being overweight, she bought him a 10-pack of sessions. And on the very first session, while he was running on the treadmill, he keeled over with a massive heart attack, died. You know why? Because he was suffering from heart disease. See, he was a tough guy. He didn't have any physical signs that he knew of. And he was relatively young. He wasn't old. He died. So please, I really ask you guys, let your doctor know that you plan on working out so that you can really get yourselves in great shape. Here's a problem that people have with working out. They have this false expectation about what it is they're supposed to be able to do. Start off slow. Slow, you guys. There's no reason for you to rush it. All right? Most people, they get like so depressed, so angry because they're not able to run at the speed they think they're supposed to run at. No. Stand, walk, run. It's not about being fast. It's not about that. It's about taking your time. Start with a walk. 20 minutes. Too many people think they got to hit the gym for an hour because, again, all these voices in their head. I work out for 2 hours. No, you don't. You work out for 5 seconds, then you go walk around, and then you go get a drink, then you go talking to your friend, then you go work out again. You can consolidate all that into 20 minutes. And guess what? If you were doing 20 minutes the way you need to work out, do any more than 20 minutes. So it's all about building your intensity within that 20 minutes. Now, why do I say 20 minutes? Because I want you there for a half hour. That includes a 5-minute warm-up. Workout, 5-minute cool down, and another 5-minute stretch. That's the 30 minutes that it takes to see the changes in your life that you really want. Build the intensity within the 20 minutes. Too many complicated workouts. That's what I'm hearing right now. Royce is telling me right now that these workouts, when you're coming back, they're too complicated. No, minimize the complication. Most people need to start off by doing what they do naturally. They just walk. Walk at a nice brisk pace for 20 minutes. I love interval training, you guys. Interval training, so you understand, means that you vary the pace of your exercise. So you might go fast, then you might go slow. You might go fast, then you might go slow. But when you're going fast, I want you to go fast enough for when you turn it down for you to actually need to recover. It doesn't mean go too fast. It just means go fast. What's capable, sustainable for a couple minutes, and then back down for a couple minutes when you catch your breath. All right? Maybe that'll be a power walk to a slow walk at first. Slow walk to just a stand or a very slow walk. Don't judge yourself. You got to start somewhere. Okay? This is important for you to know. Remember, success builds on success. If you feel good after your workout, you'll be more inclined to do it again. That's what you want. You want to get back in. Another thing I want you to know and I want you to understand that if a little can be a lot, then a lot can be way too much. You don't want to be sore, so sore you can barely move, dragging about. That's not the goal. When you're sore, it's because the exercise itself causes little micro tears in the body. And it also causes you to use energy. That energy used up is called lactic acid. That lactic acid in the body really, really makes you tired, really makes you painful, makes those muscles hurt. And as you build up your lactic acid threshold, which means you become less and less affected by the lactic acid, you'll feel better. You'll want to do more. So make sure that you're not overdoing it. All right? Now, there's 10 myths that I want to get through real quick. First myth is I work out so that I can eat anything I want. Please stop believing that. There's absolutely no workout that allows you to eat anything you want. You will just gain the weight back. Or worse than that, you'll gain more weight. So remember that. The second thing is getting more muscle makes your body burn calories. No. All right. Maybe for a guy who works at about 85% is maximal intensity, because that's what the study was done on. Women, that study doesn't work. Do not believe that if you gain more muscle, that you're going to have some significant amount of caloric burn more every single day. It's just not true. What'll happen is you'll start to tone those muscles and you'll really look better. But you should still maintain a very conscious amount of eating, okay? Don't overeat. There's never a good reason to do that. You have to run to burn calories. You have to move. Some of us have bad knees. Some of us have bad ankles, bad backs. You can do cardio on a rowing machine. You can do cardio on a bike. You can do cardio on all kind of modalities. Just move. You can walk. Don't run if it hurts you. It is not going to help you obtain the goal. The goal is achieved over multiple sessions. Being in pain isn't going to allow you to see those sessions. You have to work out for at least 1 hour every day. Well, we already talked about that. 30 minutes, 20 minutes in totality with a nice cool down, a nice warm up, and a nice stretch. That's all you need. Increasing the intensity within those 20 minutes. I'm in good shape because I weigh the same thing I did in high school. No. Okay, at the age of 21, your body starts to change its composition. So the protein, the muscle that you had, the natural muscle, it starts to atrophy naturally. And your fat goes up. So if you weigh the same thing you weighed in high school, fatter now. Your muscle has decreased. Please know that. Tasha, what's up? Congratulations on your daughter's graduation. Listen, here's another one for you. If I lose weight, my muscles will shrink. Every time I lose weight, my muscles shrink. No, no, no. That is called intermuscular fat. As you use your muscles more, your muscles grow. But if you don't lose the weight, well, they look a lot bigger than they truly are. That's intermuscular fat. When you start to do your cardio, you'll see a lot of that fat leave. And trust me. Here's another one for you. I'm too old to start working out. Please don't believe that, you guys. You are never too old to change your life. Your body changes. People say my metabolism now slowed down because I'm older. No, slow down because you don't work out. It increases. highly adaptable. Dre, what's up? Here's another one. I have too many injuries to work out. My body's in too much pain. There are workouts that you can do. If you're suffering from injuries, it's worth it, because at least then you'll make sure you're not doing something to create more injuries. Now, sadly, I'm not talking about the fitness professional at the gym. A lot of them don't know. You might want to talk to a physical therapist, okay? Or talk to somebody who you really know. You really know. Here's another one for you. Another one for you is, I'm happy with my size. I just want to tone up. Well, if you haven't been working out, that size is not real. You're just used to seeing it. The reality is that a lot of that is non-productive weight. And as you get healthier, you got that weight off. You'll be so glad. Hey, you guys, this hour has went by so quickly. I love you guys, and that's the reason why I tell you the truth. You're listening to Tone Dunken, Truth Seekrz, on IntellectualRadio.com. Don't forget to check me out May 22nd. This is an iHeart channel. You got to get in. IntellectualRadio.com. Like us. Peace.